It is Tuesday morning in Miami. It is not every day you get to drink with one of the 50 best basketball players of all time, but he has sent us some Digits bourbon. Scottie Pippen with us now. You've got it in front of you. You do not think it is too early. We've all got the Digits bourbon here with us, so you're ready to start your day early on the day drinking. Do you have any rules for day drinking? Because this is dangerous. I end up asleep by 3 o'clock usually.
No, I don't really have any rules. Just take your time because it's going to be a long day.
Okay, and tell us what it is that you're doing here. How did you get into the bourbon business? Are you a bourbon expert of some sort?
I don't want to consider myself an expert, but I'm working towards that. I actually got into the bourbon, I guess, a few years back, and I guess during the pandemic, I was sort of tied to drinking bourbon every night and sitting by the fireplace. So one of my buddies sort of said to me that, hey man, you drink a lot of bourbon, you should start your own bourbon. So from there, we started this journey, and we're here today. Had an opportunity to do this collaboration with Dave Finney, a world-renowned winemaker out of Napa, and our meeting with Dave really hit it off. We had like a 6-hour dinner, and it turned into something very special.
We are going to drink with you at the end of this segment, but during your playing days with the Chicago Bulls, in and around Chicago, percentage of times that Scottie Pippen had to pay for a drink when he would go to a restaurant?
I would say it's less than 5%.
It was pretty good living, right? It was pretty.
It was great living. The Chicago restaurants, bars, they've always been huge fans and taking care of me. So I've never had a problem paying for a drink at a bar.
Scottie, I'm guessing that's still the case, right? Today, correct?
Yes, it is. It's definitely still the case, and forever. And now that we have Digits on the shelf, I'm really looking forward to some free drinks.
Are we?
He's good.
Are we at the point where Scottie Pippen, if someone charges him for a drink in Chicago, is indignant? It's like, this is insulting to me. I haven't paid for a drink here since 2003.
You know what? It's a new generation, so we got some younger bartenders out there, and some of them didn't really live through the 90s. So I'll accept paying a few times.
What is your best or favorite Dennis Rodman story? Do you have a good one you can unleash beyond just how comfortable he was, totally nude in the locker room, just sitting in front of his locker before games?
I mean, I don't think you have enough time for me to talk about Dennis, but I had some great memories with Dennis. I think one of my fondest memories is when we won our second championship, I think, or maybe it was the first. And we went out to a party at this club called Drink, and it was so many people there celebrating with us. And all of a sudden, I look around, and we were on the top floor, and Dennis was, entertaining the crowd. And then all of a sudden, he just took a dive out into the crowd, and it was a scary moment there for a second. But all the fans stepped in and caught him and gave him a soft landing. But that was Dennis. He always lived on the edge, but a very reliable teammate.
Scottie, ever day drink on a game day?
Do I ever drink on a game day? I've had a few drinks during the exhibition season. Me and Michael, we tested the waters a few times when we had some exhibition games. We knew we weren't playing too many minutes, so we may have a beer or two in the locker room before we go out.
Are those stories true about Michael playing, 36 holes and 48 holes before a playoff game?
Yes, they are true. I mean, Michael's an avid golfer, and he's been that way since his early 20s. I mean, since coming into the league. And it's a very addicting game for anyone who plays golf. It's more addicting than basketball. So I could see why it was a pull for him. And it's got a lot of people hooked. And Michael was a very good athlete at that time. So he was trying everything, including baseball, remember?
You must have stories, Scottie, about because the stakes were the gambling stakes were epic because he had what was described as a competition problem, right? That he was always competing with everything. He was rigging some of the games, right? The stories I believe are true where he would pay.
Where are you getting some of these stories from? Have you been drinking too much digits this morning?
I'm going to tell you one of the stories. You know it to be true. He would get the bag attendants at the airline. He would pay them so his bag would come out first, and he would win money from suckers who didn't know he was doing that because his bag would come out first. And I think that the stakes had to be crazy when he was gambling with you guys. It had to be a great deal of fun. And I was wondering if you were involved in those, if they made you sheepish at all. The stakes got too high.
I'm gonna go against that and say that Michael Jordan had his own beautiful bags. At this time, we didn't have team bags. So when you saw a bag come off and it had a jump man on it, I'm sure for the guys working at the airport, that was the first bag that they grabbed. So he had an advantage, but I don't think it was something that he intentionally did. It was just something he was. It was a knowing thing that he knew that people was going to jump on his bag.
Are there many things, Scott?
But yes. I will say that he cheated on a few of his bets.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. There you go. That
wasn't hard, Scottie.
Just not the one we were talking about, but on others, he might have been capable of that. Were you somebody, when you look back, Scottie, 30 years, knowing what you know now, what kind of advice would you go back and give yourself about enjoying it and appreciating that maybe you might not have done at 25 because you didn't know any better?
Well, I mean, I don't regret anything. I think I've had a great life. You know, I don't want to change nothing because you don't know what's going to happen. But I mean, I think I've had a great landscape in my life. I didn't really draw it out this way. I sort of dreamed of, playing someday in the NBA. And, lo and behold, I played in Chicago with the greatest player, the greatest coach, the greatest GM. So I was blessed through a lot of things. Why would I want to go back and change it?
What would you say were the greatest challenges, right? Because your story is epic. It doesn't even make any sense, Scottie, that you were able to overcome some of the things that you overcame to get to where you got. So you look back and say, these are the greatest challenges I overcame, or these are the greatest odds I overcame, and say what?
Just winning, some of the challenges of coming here. This was a city that wasn't a championship city as far as basketball. Very little fans in the stands. So, when I go back and look at the whole sculpture of how things started off, it was a growing thing for myself, for the city, for the fans, and it's something that I truly loved and enjoyed. The times that I spent in Chicago during the '90s. I felt like was the greatest time to be in Chicago. I felt safe. It was a happy feeling. It was entertaining. Felt like the weather was always great. It was never cold. Maybe it was because I was sitting at home drinking digits.
Oh, you're good, Scottie. We will get to that drink. We are going to have this drink with you before we're done with this segment.
Scottie, we've been talking a lot about Kevin Durant, and I'm interested in whether or not you agree with this, that Kevin Durant, in losing to the Milwaukee Bucks, impressed me more in terms of being a competitor and all that kind of good stuff that we love about sports than he ever has while winning championships with the Golden State Warriors. Is that fair?
Well, I think this was the first time we've seen Kevin Durant sort of carry a team. And I think he did it differently than any great player that we've ever seen. And that's with Michael and whoever. But I think we ultimately saw that he has to learn to be a better teammate, to use his talent to play winning basketball. We understand his skill level. We understand that he's unstoppable. But when you start going into overtimes and fatigue set in, then you understand team basketball is more important than any individual's success. Now, he had a heck of a game, but I think any basketball aficionado would know that an individual is not going to beat a team. and his fatigue just continued to wear down in the game. He was a heck of a player. And he's probably the greatest scorer that we've ever seen because of his size, his length, his ability to shoot over people, his ability to shoot from range. But when you're playing against a team that plays good team basketball, and what Milwaukee Bucks was able to do in that overtime, it showed the difference as to why the better team advanced and not the better individual.
Is Kevin a better offensive player than Michael Jordan was?
Why would you ask a question like that? You're playing, you want to know. I wanted you to ask me this.
Oh, no.
Why don't we compare Kevin Durant to George Gervin? Why don't we go back 30 or 40 years? And you can throw Michael in there, but I'm not going to name Michael.
Okay.
George Gervin, slender, score, handle, had it all. But guess what he had to play against? Physicality of the hands, the forearm. Kevin Durant don't play under that stress. So why would you ask me, is Kevin Durant better than Jordan? It's a different game. Kevin Durant shooting freely threes from anywhere on the court. You couldn't touch these players after they pass half court in today's game. So how are you going to ask me to make that comparison? Michael Jordan scored 30 per game with guys hand checking, pushing, tripping, knocking him down. Wasn't no replay. Wasn't no go back and look at this. Let's talk about digits.
Okay,
we will
talk about digits before we
Let's talk about digits, man.
Before we get you out of here, the evolution of the game. Do you like it? Obviously not the physical part.
I love it.
Yeah?
I love it. I'm a fan. What am I to do? Turn my TV off and say I don't like the game? But I'm not comparing it anymore. I'm going to look at it for what it is. I'm not going to look back and compare this game to where the game was 30 years ago. And I would say that's when Michael was playing.
Whose hand is this on there? Is this your hand on the bottle of bourbon, on the digits?
That's the money hand. That's the hand with 6 rings. Need another finger, though.
You do need another finger. Let's have a drink here with Scottie Pippen before he gets out of here with Digits Bourbon.
You guys.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Scottie.
We appreciate your time. We are sorry that Stugotz has upset you by trying to bait you into a headline saying that someone is better than Michael.
I love it because I'm going to control the narrative from now on.
All right.
Okay. Now you've decided.
I love digits.
He is going to control the narrative from now on. So thank you, Scottie, for being on with us. Digits Bourbon. Anything that you need people to know about Digits Bourbon before you get out of here? Anything more?
I want everybody to go out and pick up a bottle at Denny's, Mariana's, or Jules Osco, and hey, drop on my Twitter, Instagram. Let me know what you think.